Hello everyone. Welcome to BYK Book Summary. I am Amin. Here we decode the inspiring journey, mental warfare, and empire building life lesson of the world greatest legend. Today topics and their biggest secret are right on your screen. Let's dive in with my AI co-host.
So picture this 300 crore rupees.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that is nearly 36 million US dollars in just guaranteed cash.
Just massive.
Yeah, just sitting on a table in front of you. And this was the actual reality back in 2025. PUMA, an absolute titan in global sportswear, they offered this 8-year contract renewal.
Right.
And it was set to be the single biggest endorsement deal in the entire history of Indian sports.
Just a staggering amount of money.
Exactly. And all the athlete had to do was basically nod, sign on the dotted line, smile for a few billboard campaigns every quarter, and just let those direct deposits clear.
The dream, basically.
Right. It's the ultimate comfort zone for a superstar. You just rent out your fame, and the corporation takes on literally all the actual business risks.
Yeah, but the athlete we're talking about here was Virat Kohli.
Exactly. And he looked at $36 million of totally risk-free money, and he walked away.
I mean, it's a decision that just fundamentally breaks the traditional athlete-sponsor playbook, right?
Yeah, completely.
Because most athletes, even, the ones at the absolute pinnacle of their sport, they view their playing years as this, tiny little window to maximize cash extraction.
Because it could all end tomorrow.
Exactly. You take the biggest check because, your knees could give out on a Tuesday.
Right.
So to walk away from a guaranteed payout of that absolute magnitude, it requires this profound psychological shift.
Yeah.
You're no longer thinking about, how to be the highest paid employee of a brand. You're thinking about how to actually own the company.
And the sources we're diving into today, they map out that exact shift. Because the mission of this deep dive isn't just about cricket or endorsements. It's about what you, listening right now, can learn from an empire that values, long-term equity over just short-term cash grab.
Yes, a completely different mindset.
It is, because the climax of this whole business script we're looking at, it doesn't just end with him saying no to PMA.
Right, there's a huge pivot.
Yeah. He took his personal brand 1E8 and he essentially merged it into a company called Agilita Sports. And he didn't just hand over the licensing rights. He took 40 crore rupees.
Which is almost $5 million.
Right, 5 million of his own personal wealth and invested it directly into Agilitas, taking a seat as a co-founder.
Which means, if you think about it, he moved from a position of absolute financial safety into a position of basically total vulnerability.
Yeah, real skin in the game.
Exactly.
Right.
Because if a BYK shoe doesn't sell, well, Kohli still gets his endorsement check, right?
Right. PMA eats the loss.
Yep. But if an Agilitas shoe sits in a warehouse collecting dust, Kohli actively loses his own money.
Wow. Yeah, I look at this move and it's this. It's basically the difference between collecting a toll on someone else's highway and just deciding you want to own the asphalt, own the cars, and own the destination.
That's a great way to put it.
But, looking at the sources, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. Because if I have a net worth of over $100 million, throwing $5 million at a new shoe company just so they can print co-founder on my business cards, I mean, that sounds exactly like a vanity project.
It definitely can look like that from the outside.
Right. Is this actually a brilliant structural play, or is it just, a bored athlete wanting to play CEO?
Well, I think that's the natural skepticism you should have anytime a celebrity suddenly calls themselves a founder.
Exactly.
But the structural reality of Agilita Sports, it really reveals the business mechanics at play here. Let's look at the actual architecture of this company. It was founded by Abhishek Ganguly.
Which, by the way, is a brilliant little detail in the timeline we have, because Ganguly is the exact executive who originally signed Kohli to that massive PUMA deal back in 2017.
Right. So they have a decade of history together.
Yeah.
And that pre-existing relationship is crucial, because it was already stress tested. They knew how to negotiate with each other. They knew how the other guy worked.
That makes a lot of sense.
But the real genius is what Ganguly actually built with Agilitas. I mean, this isn't just some marketing agency that slaps celebrity names on, like a generic apparel.
Right, right.
They raised over 600 crore rupees, and in 2023, they went out and acquired Mochiko shoes.
Oh, wow. Which is a massive sports footwear manufacturer, right?
Exactly. So Agilitas is this a vertically integrated ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
They handle the research and development. They own the manufacturing lines. They do all the brand development, and they control the retail distribution.
Okay, so they are literally cutting out the entire chain of middlemen.
Yep.
Because, I mean, in the normal footwear business, a brand designs a shoe, then they pay a factory in Vietnam or Bangladesh to make it.
Right.
Then they pay a logistics company to ship it and a retailer to put it on a shelf.
And everyone takes a slice of that profit margin along the way.
Wow, yeah, so they're just bleeding margin at every step.
Exactly. And that margin drain is exactly what vertical integration solves.
Yep.
By bringing everything in-house, from, pouring the rubber for the soles all the way to designing the box, it ships in. Agilitas captures the profit at every single step of that journey.
That's incredibly smart.
Right. And Kohli looked at that landscape and recognized the fundamental difference between renting an audience to a third party and owning the actual supply chain.
Right, because in an endorsement deal, you're just a passenger on someone else's infrastructure.
Exactly. By partnering with Agilitas, he secured this foundational control over the profit margins, the actual quality of the stitching and the ultimate destiny of his brand.
Man. So he basically traded a massive paycheck for a seat at the adult table.
He really did.
But, jumping into supply chain economics isn't something you just do on a whim.
Oh, definitely not.
Right. So to understand how he had the absolute confidence to make that 40-crore gamble in 2025, the sources take us back to how his brand, ONE8, actually started. Like, he didn't just wake up one morning as a retail expert.
No, it was a highly calculated evolution.
Yeah.
And it started 8 years prior to all this, back in 2017.
Right. And the origins are so fascinating, even starting with the name itself, 1E8.
Yeah.
Because it isn't some, sterile corporate invention that a marketing agency focus grouped in a boardroom. It is literally his jersey number.
Which is brilliant branding.
Yeah. I mean, he wore the number 18 in test matches, in one-day internationals, basically, for his entire career. And on top of that, his birth date is November 5th, 1988.
Right, and by anchoring the brand to that really specific identity marker, he completely bypassed the hardest part of launching any new product.
Which is what?
Establishing authenticity.
Ah.
Right, it instantly ceases to be just a piece of fabric. It becomes a tangible extension of his character. Fans aren't just buying a shirt. They're buying a piece of the athlete's mythology.
Oh, I like that. A piece of the mythology.
Yeah.
And it started out as a collaboration. It was a 110 crore rupee deal with PMA to co-create the 1E8 line. But the sources highlight a detail here that honestly completely changes how I view this early phase.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because this wasn't the standard, show up for an hour, do the photo shoot, and leave kind of endorsement.
No, not at all.
The PMA designers literally went into Kohli's home and pulled pieces from his personal wardrobe for inspiration.
Oh, wow.
Right. They were mapping his actual real-world aesthetic.
See, that changes the power dynamics significantly.
Completely.
Because even back in 2017, when he was, technically just an endorser, he was demanding the involvement of a true partner.
Yeah.
He was basically treating a global giant like PUMA as a manufacturing arm for his own ideas.
That's a huge flex.
It is. He recognized early on that if he was going to land his massive audience to a product, the product had to survive the authenticity test of his actual daily life.
Right, and that obsessive involvement is what allowed 1A8 to expand so aggressively. It didn't just stay in the safe lane of athleisure t-shirts and track pants.
Yeah, they went way beyond that.
Yeah, they really did. The sources tracked this massive outward expansion. They launched 1E8 Select, which is a line of premium formal shoes for men. And get this, that single category was pulling in over 19 crore rupees in revenue by early 2025.
That's incredible.
Then they expanded into innerwear in 2019 by partnering with Lex Industries. And by 2023, they rolled out a dedicated 1E8 fitness app.
So he was systematically moving from just being a product to becoming a full ecosystem.
Exactly. But the absolute standout story from the sources, the part that really showcases the ambition here, is the ONE8 commune.
Ah, the restaurant chain.
Yes. And the flagship location in Juhu, Mumbai is just an absolute masterclass in storytelling.
Tell me about it.
So it's located in Gaurikunji, which is the former bungalow of the legendary Indian playback singer Kishore Kumar.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they took this iconic cultural landmark, put in this gorgeous glass roof, flooded the whole space with natural light, and essentially fused cricket nostalgia with deep musical heritage.
I mean, that is just brilliant brand positioning.
It sounds amazing, right? But I do have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Because the restaurant industry is a total bloodbath.
Oh, absolutely brutal.
Right. The failure rate is notoriously high, margins are razor thin, and consumer tastes just change overnight.
True.
So a glass roof in a famous singer's old house doesn't guarantee a return on investment.
No, it doesn't.
So my question is he just buying a cool hangout spot for his friends and throwing money at, like, vanity real estate? Or is there an actual scalable business model in hospitality for an athlete?
Well, you are absolutely right to point out the brutal economics of restaurants. On paper, it looks like an entirely unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
But you have to view 198 Commune not just as a place that sells food, but as a physical manifestation of the brand.
Okay, explain that.
So real, enduring brands, they don't just sell isolated items, they sell an attitude, they sell a lifestyle.
Right.
By creating this premium, tangible space where people can, physically walk into the world of Virat Kohli, he's creating a third space for his consumers.
Oh, I see.
It's basically marketing that people actually pay to experience.
Okay, so it's essentially a three-dimensional billboard that serves dinner.
Exactly.
He isn't just opening some generic sports bar with a few framed jerseys on the wall and sticky floors.
Right. He's proving he can curate a premium experience.
He's building a world that his audience actually wants to inhabit.
Spot on. And that is the hallmark of a true lifestyle brand. It has to touch multiple facets of your life, right? Like what you wear to the gym, what shoes you wear to the office, how you track your workouts, and where you take your friends on a Friday night.
It's incredibly impressive. But, reading through the multi-crore revenues and looking at the glass roofs of his restaurants, it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking he just has the Midas touch.
Oh, for sure.
We start to believe that because he has a massive audience, everything he touches automatically turns to gold. But the sources actually provide a major reality check here.
They do, and it's so important.
Yeah, because true entrepreneurship is messy, and his portfolio has some serious blood on the floor.
Right. And, a sanitized narrative of endless victories is essentially useless for anyone trying to learn how business actually works.
Exactly.
The failures are where the real mechanics are exposed.
Which brings us to ROG. That's WROGN.
Right, the casual streetwear brand.
Yeah, which he co-owns with founder Anjana Reddy. And it has serious institutional backing, like we are talking about the Aditya Birla Group and Flipkart.
Heavy hitters.
But the financial numbers for the 2025 fiscal year are just brutal.
Yeah, they are.
ROD saw a 9% year-on-year revenue decline, dropping to roughly 223 crore rupees. And worse, they posted a massive net loss of 75.5 crore rupees.
Wow.
That is around $9 million just evaporating in a single year.
I mean, that is a staggering hit for any portfolio to absorb.
It really is. And it's fascinating to me that a business case study designed to analyze Kohli's genius would put a 75 crore failure front and center.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, most celebrity PR teams would bury that number so deep it would never see the light of day.
Oh, 100%.
But looking at it from an investor's perspective, I actually think putting that failure out there builds massive credibility.
How so?
It proves this isn't just a carefully curated vanity project where he only shows the highlight reel, He is out there playing the real game, and he is taking real hits.
That's a great point. Transparency in business builds really durable trust. But if we dig into why Rogan took such a massive loss, we actually uncover a crucial lesson about market friction.
Okay, let's hear it.
Consider the difference in the target demographics here. 1&8 is positioned for the premium athletic and lifestyle market. You're selling high-quality gear to a dedicated audience that values performance and status.
Right.
Rogin, on the other hand, is targeting affordable, casual streetwear for a younger, trend-driven demographic.
Oh, and those are two completely different beasts.
Completely different.
Because the streetwear market relies on fast fashion cycles, massive inventory turnovers, and these razor-thin margins. If you misjudge a trend by even a few weeks, you are suddenly sitting on millions of dollars of unsellable inventory.
Yep. That is the brutal reality of the casual apparel supply chain. A strategy that works perfectly for selling premium formal shoes to professionals will absolutely fail when trying to sell distressed denim to college students.
Makes total sense.
So the fact that the portfolio acknowledges this headwind, it shows a real maturity in his business operations. He's operating across different ecosystems and dealing with the distinct physics of each market.
Right, and his willingness to take massive bets goes way beyond just apparel.
Oh, yeah.
To see his true risk tolerance, we have to look back at 2015.
Okay.
He was absolutely peaking in his cricket career at this point. And historically, when a young athlete signs their first few massive contracts, they go out and buy a fleet of exotic sports cars or dump money into terrible vanity investments.
Like a nightclub or something.
Exactly. But Kohli took 90 crore rupees, over $10 million, and invested it into a luxury gym chain called Chisel Fitness.
I mean, making a private equity scale investment of that magnitude in 2015, particularly in the Indian fitness market, which was still highly fragmented back then, that was incredibly early.
Yeah, ahead of the curve.
It shows a very sophisticated understanding of where capital can actually grow.
And he just kept expanding that philosophy. The sources list his subsequent ventures, and it's quite a list.
What's on it?
Okay, so we've got Rage Coffee, Blue Tribe Foods, which produces plant-based meat alternatives, Digit Insurance, Hyper Rice, which makes elite athletic recovery technology. He even holds a 12% stake in the FC Goa football team.
Okay.
When you look at that roster of companies, the pattern is just impossible to ignore.
Right. What stands out to you when you look at that specific collection of assets?
It's basically a mirror of his daily life.
Exactly.
The guy is famously obsessed with his fitness. He eats an incredibly strict, clean diet, and he relies on cutting-edge recovery tech to perform at an elite level.
Yep.
He didn't just throw money at whatever software startup was trending in Silicon Valley. He stayed entirely within his own reality.
And in the investing world, we refer to that as operating within your circle of competence.
Oracle of competence.
Yeah, and it is one of the most powerful principles of wealth generation. When you invest in areas where your personal daily habits or your professional background give you deep intuitive insight, you possess an informational edge over the rest of the market.
Like an unfair advantage.
Precisely. If a wealth manager pitches a random tech startup to an athlete, well, the athlete has to rely entirely on secondhand analysis.
Because they have no idea how the tech works.
Right, but if someone pitches a new percussive massage gun to Virat Kohli, he doesn't need an analyst.
No.
He knows exactly what elite muscle recovery should feel like. He can evaluate the product's viability instantly because he is the target consumer.
Wow, yeah. He stuck to what he knows in his bones.
We did.
And this hyper-focused, value-driven investment strategy has just compounded over the last decade to create an absolute fortress of personal wealth for his life after cricket.
It really has.
I mean, the sheer scale of brand Virat as we sit here in early 2026 is just mind-bending.
The leverage he possesses right now is historically unprecedented for an Indian athlete.
Let's break the numbers down for everyone listening because they are staggering.
Okay, let's hear them.
His estimated net worth is hovering around 1,090 crore rupees, roughly $131 million.
Wow.
But the true engine of his empire isn't actually his bank account, it's his audience.
Right, the social media reach.
Exactly. He has over 264 million followers on Instagram.
That number is hard to even comprehend.
To put it in perspective, if his Instagram following were a country, it would be the 4th largest country on Earth.
Oh my God.
Right. He is the 3rd most followed athlete globally, sitting only behind Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi.
That's elite company.
And because he commands that kind of traffic, he charges between 7.5 to 10 crore rupees for a single brand deal. One Instagram post is valued at around 9 crore rupees, over $1 million for just hitting the share button.
Now, consider the temptation of those numbers.
Right.
With a valuation of over $1 million per social media post, he could comfortably retire tomorrow, sit on a beach, post advertisements for other people's companies once a week, and generate profound generational wealth without ever taking a single business risk.
Yeah, he could just coast. But again, that brings us right back to the beginning of our deep dive.
Right.
That is renting out your audience. That is taking the toll on the highway.
Exactly.
He looked at those 264 million people and realized they aren't just cricket purists who want to watch him bat. That massive demographic, it spans fitness enthusiasts, fashion-forward young professionals, and people aspiring to a premium lifestyle.
He had the customer base. He just needed to build the store.
Wow.
Because when extreme authenticity, like the fact that he genuinely lives the relentless high-performance lifestyle he promotes, when that intersects with massive global reach, you create a self-sustaining economic engine.
Right.
Instead of using his influence to direct traffic to someone else's bottom line, he's directing 264 million sets of eyes to the vertically integrated supply chain he now co-owns with agilitas.
He captures the value of his own fame.
Exactly.
So, bringing all of this immense scale back down to earth for a second, what is the actionable insight for you, the person listening to this deep dive right now?
That's the big question.
Because most of us don't have 264 million followers, and we certainly don't have 40 crore rupees just sitting around to buy a shoe manufacturer.
No, we don't. But the scale is different, while the underlying mechanics are exactly the same.
Okay, how so?
Think about your current primary career. Your job, whether you are an engineer, a consultant, or in Kohli's case, an elite cricketer, it will eventually end. Every primary professional phase has an expiration date.
Right, nobody plays forever.
Exactly. So the vital lesson here is to leverage the capital, the professional network, and the specific influence you build during your peak earning years to construct a durable asset base that survives long after you retire from your primary field.
It's about laying the train tracks for your next journey while the current train is still moving at full speed.
Yes.
You don't wait for the engine to stop before you start figuring out how you're going to travel tomorrow. You use the heat and momentum of your current success to forge the iron of your future.
That is the absolute essence of transition. You extract the value of your current position and convert it into ownership of your next phase.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together.
Let's do it.
The evolution of Virat Kohli from an athlete to a business mogul is this incredible masterclass in shifting from a rented asset to an owner.
Yeah.
It requires the sheer audacity to look at $36 million of guaranteed short-term cash like that massive PMA renewal and walk away because you value long-term equity and structural control more.
Right.
It demands that you know your circle of competence, investing heavily in the spaces where you hold an unfair informational edge.
Exactly.
And crucially, it requires the maturity to acknowledge your business struggles, like that 75 core market reality check with Rogian without hiding behind PR spin. Kohli isn't just an athlete who got lucky. He is a meticulous visionary builder.
He really has architected a remarkable transition. But as we close out this analysis, I want to leave you with a final lingering thought.
Okay.
It's an existential question that the sources don't explicitly answer, but one that every single identity-based brand must eventually face.
What's that?
What happens to the ecosystem when the identity itself inevitably transforms?
Oh, wow.
Right? When Virat Kohli finally retires from cricket, when he's no longer on television performing miracles under immense pressure every single week, can the 1E8 empire sustain its massive momentum entirely on the strength of its supply chains and business fundamentals?
That's a great point.
Or will the brand have to entirely reinvent what the number 18 stands for to a generation that never even saw him play?
Man, that is the ultimate stress test for any empire, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring the intersection of your own specialized knowledge and your long-term goals. Because eventually, in our own careers, we all face a version of that defining choice. Do you take the guaranteed comfort of the luxury suite, or do you walk out into the sun and start laying the bricks for a house you actually own?
So friends, that was the complete breakdown. Make sure to take a screenshot of this growth gift, this infographic, so this lesson stay with you. If you want to learn from legends every single day, join our community. I am Amin. Always remember, read more, think deeper. Let me know in the comments who we should cover next. See you in next episode.